Hello, English learners. Welcome back to our English Learning Podcast, where we dive into everything you need to know to improve your English skills and build confidence for the real world. I'm Adam, and joining me today is my brilliant co-host, Sophia.
Thanks, Adam. And hey, everyone, we're so glad you're here. Whether you're a beginner or already comfortable with English, this podcast is all about helping you learn and grow while keeping it interesting and fun.
Today's topic is something super relevant. Why learning English is essential in today's digital world. Think about it. Whether you're scrolling through social media, watching videos online, or connecting with people around the globe, English is right there at the center of it all.
That's right. English has become like a bridge, connecting people everywhere. And in today's world, knowing English can open up so many doors, from career opportunities to friendships to endless learning resources.
So stay with us. We're going to talk about the many ways English can make a difference in your life, especially in this digital age. Plus, we'll share some tips on how to make learning easier and use the internet to your advantage.
Let's dive right in. Get comfortable, grab a coffee or tea if you like, and let's explore why English really is the language of the digital world.
Segment 2. The global language of the internet. All right, Sophia, let's get into it. I know English is everywhere, but why has it become the main language of the internet? I mean, why not other languages like Chinese or Spanish, which are also spoken by millions?
Great question, Adam. One major reason is that a lot of the foundational tech we use today, like early computers, software, and the internet itself, was developed in 1969 English-speaking countries, especially the US. Since English was already the main language in tech innovation, it naturally became the default language online.
So it's like, from the very beginning, English was baked into the internet, and that just continued to grow as more people came online.
Exactly. And because tech companies like Google, Microsoft, and Apple started in the US, their interfaces, help articles, and tutorials were all in English first. Even social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube started in English-speaking countries and spread worldwide from there.
That makes sense. And when these companies went global, they probably realized that English would be the easiest language to connect people from different countries, right?
Exactly. English became the common ground language that lets people from different backgrounds communicate easily. Plus, around 60% of all websites are in English. So if you want access to information online, knowing English gives you a huge advantage.
And I guess English isn't just the language of websites, it's also the language of things like programming and coding, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Most programming languages use English keywords like if, else, function, and so on. So even in tech development, English is the base language. If you're learning to code or trying to follow tech tutorials, you'll find that knowing English makes everything way easier.
And not just coding. Even the instructions for using a lot of software or apps are mostly in English. If you're learning to use new tech or digital tools, it's almost like you have to know at least a little bit of English.
Exactly. And think about all the online resources, blogs, tutorials, forums like Reddit or Stack Overflow, where people help each other out with tech questions. These are mostly in English too.
It's true. Even if you're just Googling how to fix a problem, the top search results are usually in English. So if you don't know English, you're cut off from all this helpful information.
That's why, in a way, English has become almost like a passport to the digital world. If you want to be fully connected and make the most of the internet, knowing English is such a big advantage.
It's interesting, Sophia. English isn't just about speaking to people. It's like the operating language of the internet itself.
Exactly. English has become the language of the internet, connecting people and providing access to endless knowledge and opportunities.
So, if anyone listening is wondering whether it's worth putting in the effort to learn English, the answer is yes. You're unlocking a whole world of information and opportunities by doing it.
Absolutely. And in the next segment, we'll talk about how English can impact your career and the huge role it plays in the modern digital workplace. So stay with us.
Segment 3. English in digital careers. All right, Sophia, let's get into a big reason people are motivated to learn English these days. Career opportunities. With so many companies and roles now operating digitally, English has become almost essential if you want to get ahead in today's job market.
Absolutely, Adam. When you look at major global companies, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and others, they operate primarily in English, even if they're based in non-English speaking countries. English fluency is practically required if you want to work for these kinds of employers or even partner with them on projects.
And this trend isn't limited to just American or British companies, right? A lot of companies based in other countries are looking for English-speaking talent too.
Exactly. It's because these companies often need to communicate with clients, partners, or even employees from different countries. English has become the neutral language for international business. Let's say you're an engineer in Germany working on a project with a company in Japan. Both teams might use English as the bridge language to collaborate.
And if we think about fields like technology, marketing, or customer support, these are jobs that often rely on digital communication. Since the internet and tech development were largely driven by English-speaking countries, English is now the common language for these industries.
Right. And that's why if you're a software developer in India, a graphic designer in Brazil, or a data analyst in Mexico, knowing English opens up a ton of international job opportunities. You can work with clients or colleagues from North America, Europe, or even other parts of Asia.
And that brings us to freelancing, another area where English is crucial. A lot of freelancers today are working internationally on platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and Freelancer. And guess what language they typically need to communicate in?
English. These platforms are filled with clients from all over the world, many of whom prefer English-speaking freelancers. A lot of high-paying clients specifically search for freelancers who can communicate effectively in English because it makes the work process smoother and faster.
And freelancers often find that knowing English allows them to compete for more projects and expand their reach. So for anyone looking to get into freelancing or remote work, improving English skills can make a massive difference in terms of both opportunities and income potential.
Plus, it's not just about talking to clients. Freelancers also need to read and understand project briefs, manage emails, and sometimes even write reports in English. It's the foundation of how they communicate with clients and deliver professional work.
And let's talk about something else that's crucial for digital careers: staying up to date. In today's fast-moving job market, you need to keep learning new skills. Think about how many online courses and certifications are out there. Guess what language they're in?
Exactly. The majority of online courses, especially on platforms like Coursera, Udemy, and LinkedIn Learning, are in English. So if you want to keep learning and developing professionally, knowing English makes it a lot easier. You'll have access to a much wider range of topics and resources.
And not just courses, even industry events, conferences, and webinars, many of which are held in English, can help you expand your skills and make connections. If you're looking to grow in your field, understanding English is almost like having an entry ticket.
Another huge benefit: networking. Professional networking has mostly shifted online to places like LinkedIn, Twitter, and professional Facebook groups. And English is the dominant language on these platforms.
Right. LinkedIn, for example, is filled with industry discussions, job openings, and networking opportunities, all in English. If you're not comfortable with English, you might miss out on these conversations or struggle to connect with people who could help you in your career.
Exactly. Knowing English means you can engage with professionals from different countries, exchange ideas, and even find mentors. It's incredibly valuable to be part of these global professional communities where people share insights and job opportunities.
And it's not just about networking with other professionals. Many companies today are shifting to remote work. They want to hire talent from all over the world. But for a global team to work together effectively, they often need one common language, and that's usually English.
Right, Adam. So if you're applying for remote positions, companies are often looking for candidates who can communicate in English. It makes things smoother, especially when you're working with teams that may be spread across multiple countries and time zones.
So if you're listening and thinking about whether learning English is worth it, consider this. English isn't just a language, it's an investment in your career. It's going to open doors to international job markets and help you keep up in a world where things are moving faster and more globally than ever before.
Well said, Adam. And as we've seen, whether you're freelancing, networking, or aiming for a job in a global company, English is like a key that unlocks so many of these opportunities.
Which brings us to our next topic. In the digital age, there are so many tools available to help you learn English, and we're going to share some of the best ways to make learning easier and more effective using these digital resources. Stick around for some practical tips on that. Segment 4. Access to learning and knowledge. All right, Sophia, we've covered how English opens up career paths, but there's another major benefit to knowing English, especially in today's digital world: access to knowledge and learning.
Exactly, Adam. Learning English isn't just about communication. It's about accessing a whole world of information that's often only available in English. Think about how much of the internet's content is in English. It's estimated that over half of all online resources, from educational materials to research papers, are in English.
That's so true, Sophia. For anyone who's trying to learn or upskill, English is often the bridge to some of the best resources. Whether it's reading articles on scientific research, accessing business insights, or learning about the latest technology trends, knowing English can be a huge advantage.
And this is especially important for people who live in non-English-speaking countries. Right. Many of the top universities and educational institutions around the world publish their research in English. So if you're trying to stay on top of developments in medicine, engineering, or any other field, English can give you a head start.
Absolutely. In fact, most academic journals, like Nature, Science, and The Lancet, publish almost exclusively in English. If someone wants to stay up to date with the latest research, understanding English opens up those doors.
And speaking of education, let's talk about online courses. The popularity of platforms like Coursera, edX, Udemy, and Khan Academy has skyrocketed. But many of these courses are taught in English, which means that learners who don't speak English might miss out on some really valuable knowledge.
That's a great point, Sophia. And a lot of these platforms also offer certification programs in high-demand skills like coding, digital marketing, and data analysis. If you can understand English, you gain access to a wide variety of courses that can help you build career-specific skills and stay competitive.
Exactly. And these certifications are recognized globally too. So by learning through English, you're not only gaining skills, but also earning credentials that employers respect worldwide.
And let's not forget YouTube and other video platforms. The educational content available there is astounding. Want to learn how to cook, improve your coding skills, understand quantum physics, or even fix your own car? There's a tutorial for everything, and a huge portion of it is in English.
Absolutely, Adam. And a lot of well-known experts, influencers, and educators produce content exclusively in English. For instance, popular channels that teach programming, like Free Code Camp, or language channels like English with Lucy, are mostly in English, which can be so helpful for learners looking to self-study.
And there's something else that I think is really exciting: online communities and forums. Websites like Reddit, Stack Exchange, and Quora have tons of discussion threads on just about any topic you can imagine, and English is the main language of communication on these sites.
Yes. These communities can be incredibly valuable for asking questions, sharing ideas, or even troubleshooting issues. Imagine being able to join a global community of programmers on Stack Overflow, or participate in discussions about science, history, or philosophy on Reddit. All of these resources become much more accessible if you know English.
And those communities can be really supportive as well. Say you're learning a complex subject like coding. If you can ask questions in English, there are experts from around the world who can guide you.
Another big thing to mention is free resources. Many non-English speaking learners may not realize how many high-quality free resources are available in English. Sites like Khan Academy, MIT OpenCourseWare, and even the British Council offer free educational content in English.
Right. And a lot of these resources are aimed at self-learners who may not have access to formal education. So for anyone who's serious about lifelong learning, English really makes a difference because it gives you access to some of the best materials out there.
And beyond formal learning, there's also a lot of cultural content. Think of classic literature, movies, podcasts, and documentaries. English opens up a world of art, history, and entertainment that can deepen our understanding of different cultures and perspectives.
Exactly, Sophia. So, in a way, English doesn't just help us learn about specific topics. It also helps us connect with ideas, art, and perspectives from different parts of the world. It's like a gateway to a richer, more diverse understanding of the world.
And in the digital age, that access is practically limitless. We have this amazing resource at our fingertips, and all we need is the language skill to fully take advantage of it.
So to anyone listening, if you're trying to decide if English is worth your time, just consider how much knowledge, learning, and even self-growth you can access through English. It's like a key to a whole library of information.
Exactly. Whether you're looking to advance your career, learn a new skill, or just stay informed, English will give you access to the resources that can help you reach those goals.
Segment 5. Social connections and online communities. All right, Sophia, so we've covered how English opens doors to knowledge and learning, but there's another really powerful aspect we should talk about: social connections and online communities.
Absolutely, Adam. In today's digital world, connecting with people from all over the globe has never been easier, and English is often the language that bridges those connections, whether it's for friendships, professional networking, or shared interests. English helps us connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds.
Yes, think about all the online communities that have popped up: social media groups, gaming communities, forums on Reddit, Facebook, or Discord. Most of these global communities operate in English, and being able to participate in them adds a whole new layer of interaction and learning.
Exactly. For instance, people join groups to talk about shared hobbies, from photography to cooking, or even more niche interests like anime or environmental activism. Knowing English means you can be part of these global conversations, exchange ideas, and make friends who live on the other side of the world.
And it's not just about hobbies. English helps in building professional networks too. LinkedIn, for example, has millions of users globally, most of whom communicate in English. By being active on LinkedIn, you can connect with professionals in your field from various countries, learn about job opportunities, and even participate in industry discussions.
Yes. And even on Twitter, you'll find industry experts, authors, CEOs, and thought leaders who regularly share their insights. Many of these influencers post in English, so if you want to join these conversations or even just follow along, English can be a huge advantage.
Absolutely. And it's also worth mentioning the role English plays in support communities. Many people go through challenges, whether it's health-related, studying, or career transitions, and they look for support online. Sites like Reddit have communities for almost every topic, where people share advice and encouragement, and most of these discussions are in English.
That's so true. For example, if you're someone going through a personal struggle and need advice or just want to connect with people who understand, you'll find thousands of support groups, from mental health communities to study groups, which operate primarily in English.
And let's talk about language exchange communities. Learning English can open up opportunities to practice languages with native speakers. There are tons of apps and platforms like HelloTalk, Tandem, or language exchange groups on Facebook where you can chat with native speakers who are also looking to learn your language.
Yes, that's a great example. These exchanges are amazing because they allow people to not only practice English, but also learn about each other's cultures. It's a perfect way to build friendships and practice language skills at the same time.
Exactly. And beyond language exchange, there are also countless forums and specialized groups, from tech communities on GitHub to creative groups on sites like DeviantArt, where English is the common language for sharing projects, ideas, and getting feedback.
And let's not forget the huge impact of English in the world of gaming. Online multiplayer games bring together players from everywhere. Most of the in-game communication, whether through chat or voice, happens in English.
Right. For gamers, knowing English adds so much more to the experience. It allows you to make new friends, understand strategies, and even collaborate with teammates from different countries. Plus, being able to communicate in English gives you an edge in competitive games where teamwork and quick communication are essential.
Exactly. Gaming has actually become a big way for people to improve their English without even realizing it, simply because they're interacting with others, following instructions, and staying engaged with English content.
Social media is another massive part of this, Sophia. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are filled with creators from around the world, and English often becomes the common language. By understanding English, you can connect with these creators, join global trends, and even create your own content for an international audience.
Exactly, Adam. And this can be a game changer. If you want to start a blog, vlog, or social media account to share your passions, using English lets you reach a much larger audience. Plus, it helps you engage in trends, conversations, and challenges that are happening worldwide.
And there's something really inspiring about that, isn't there? The idea that no matter where you're from, English can be a way to find like-minded people and create connections that cross borders and cultures.
It really is inspiring. It goes to show that English is more than just a language. It's a tool that brings people together in this digital age. So whether you're looking to make friends, network professionally, find support, or just engage with people who share your interests, English opens those doors.
So for everyone listening, if you're learning English, know that it's not just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about becoming part of a global community, connecting with others, and opening up new social experiences you might never have had otherwise.
Exactly. And in our next segment, we'll share some practical tips on how to get the most out of these communities, whether you're new to English or already on your way. So, stay tuned for that.
Segment 6. English for Digital Tools and Apps. So far, we've covered a lot, Sophia. English for global connections, careers, learning, and more. But there's another critical aspect of English in the digital world that we haven't touched on yet, and that's how essential it is for navigating digital tools and apps.
Absolutely, Adam. Think about how many apps we use daily: social media, productivity tools, learning apps, even our phones and computers. English is the default language for most of these platforms, which means understanding English can make it easier to fully utilize these tools.
Exactly. If you look at apps like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, or even something as simple as a calendar app, the interface and instructions are often in English. Many of these platforms have translations available, but they don't always capture the full functionality of the app as well as the English version does.
That's a great point, Adam. Sometimes translations are limited, and even if the app is in another language, a lot of the support articles, FAQs, or troubleshooting resources are available only in English. So if you run into a technical issue, being able to understand English can make a huge difference.
And let's talk about work-related tools like Google Workspace or Microsoft Office. Many people use tools like Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides for school or work, and most of the tutorials and tips are in English. Knowing English can help you understand the full range of features in these apps.
Yes, and that's especially true in professional settings. Tools like Slack, Trello, Asana, and even Zoom have interfaces primarily in English. For people working remotely or collaborating internationally, understanding English means they can use these tools more effectively and communicate with teammates more easily.
Exactly. And speaking of Zoom, during the pandemic, we all saw how important virtual communication tools became. Most of these tools, from Skype to Teams to WebEx, are designed with English as the primary language. So, knowing English really helps in mastering these platforms.
And let's not forget coding. A lot of people are learning to code these days, and most programming languages, as well as the documentation for them, are based on English. If someone wants to get into software development, they need at least a basic understanding of English to follow instructions, read documentation, and troubleshoot.
Absolutely. Think about platforms like GitHub or Stack Overflow, where developers share code and solutions. Most of the discussions and documentation there are in English, So knowing English opens up access to a vast library of knowledge and resources in tech.
Even simpler tools like fitness or language learning apps use English for most of their instructions and explanations. For instance, Duolingo, which teaches multiple languages, still uses English as the main interface language and provides more detailed explanations if you're learning through English.
Right. And let's talk about personal finance apps. Apps like PayPal, Venmo, or investment apps like Robinhood. Most of these are based in English-speaking countries, so understanding English helps users better manage their finances and follow all the latest features.
Exactly. And then there are the travel apps like Airbnb, Google Maps, Uber, and many more, where English is often the main language for instructions, booking options, and user reviews. For anyone who loves to travel, being able to read reviews or instructions in English can be incredibly helpful.
It's also worth mentioning that English proficiency can help users take advantage of new, cutting-edge tools. Think of all the recent advancements in AI, like ChatGPT, which we're using here, or tools like Grammarly for writing assistance. A lot of these tools are designed with English as the primary language, so English speakers often get the full benefit of these technologies first.
Absolutely, Adam. Tools like Grammarly can be so helpful for people in school, work, or even just writing emails. And understanding English opens the door to using these tools to their full potential.
And many digital platforms, like online banks or cloud services, have interfaces and support articles that are predominantly in English. So even for basic things like managing files or online shopping, English proficiency can be a big advantage.
So for anyone listening, if you're learning English, remember that it's not just about improving your communication skills. It's also about making the most of the digital tools and apps we all rely on. Knowing English lets you navigate these tools more confidently, which is a huge advantage in both personal and professional life.
Exactly, Sophia. So many resources, guides, and features become more accessible, and it ultimately empowers you to use these tools to their fullest potential. Segment 7. Real-life stories of English in the digital world. All right, Sophia, we've talked about a lot of practical benefits of learning English in the digital world, but let's bring it to life a bit. I thought it'd be inspiring to share some real-life stories of people who've used English to transform their lives or open up new opportunities online.
Great idea, Adam. Stories really show how impactful this can be. There's actually a story I came across recently about a young woman from Vietnam named Mai. She learned English on her own, just using YouTube videos and some language apps. At first, she just wanted to improve her English to watch her favorite shows without subtitles, but it led to so much more.
That's incredible. What happened with her after she improved her English?
Well, she ended up creating a travel blog. She started by sharing tips in English for other travelers, especially solo female travelers. Her blog quickly grew, and now she has readers from all over the world. Because she writes in English, her reach is global, and she even landed a remote job with a travel company in the US, something she couldn't have dreamed of before.
That's amazing. She essentially created an entire career path just by learning English and sharing her passion online. And now she's connecting with people across continents who have similar interests.
Exactly. And I have another story of a guy named Raj from India. He was passionate about video games, especially online strategy games. He started joining English-speaking gaming communities to improve his skills and make friends. As he got better at English, he started creating YouTube tutorials for other gamers.
So his English skills helped him not only play better but also share his knowledge with a wider audience.
Yes! His tutorials started getting tons of views, and soon he was earning from ad revenue and sponsorships. He even connected with international gaming influencers. And all of this was possible because he could communicate confidently in English.
That's such a cool story. It shows how a personal interest can evolve into a way to make money and connect with a global audience. Raj probably wouldn't have achieved that level of success if he hadn't been able to interact with an English-speaking audience. There's another story that comes to mind, about a woman named Sarah from Egypt. She's a teacher and wanted to use the latest resources to help her students learn more effectively. Most of the advanced educational resources were in English, so she committed to improving her English to bring these resources to her classroom.
Wow, that's dedication. So what did she do?
She started joining online teaching forums and taking part in webinars, all in English. She even connected with teachers from other countries, exchanging teaching tips and lesson plans. This helped her enhance her teaching style, and her students ended up benefiting because she was bringing in new ideas and methods that were cutting edge.
That's amazing. It's a perfect example of how learning English isn't just about individual success but can impact an entire community. Sarah's English skills allowed her to give her students a better education and expose them to ideas they might not have encountered otherwise. I love how these stories show the different ways English can be used. And there's another one about a Brazilian entrepreneur named Lucas. He had a small business making sustainable clothing, and he wanted to reach a bigger market. So he started learning English, mostly so he could communicate better with international customers.
Did he end up expanding his business internationally?
Yes, he did. He began selling his products on international platforms like Etsy and Shopify, and being able to write product descriptions and respond to customer queries in English really boosted his sales. Today, most of his orders come from outside Brazil, and he's even partnered with eco-friendly influencers in the US to promote his brand.
That's so inspiring. Lucas transformed his small business into a global brand because he could connect with a broader audience in English. It shows how English can literally open up new markets for entrepreneurs. There's also the story of someone who didn't start off thinking they'd use English for success. Javier from Mexico was just trying to improve his English to study abroad, but along the way, he found a global community on Reddit. He started joining discussions about his favorite hobbies, like photography and graphic design, and ended up landing freelance clients because of the connections he made there.
That's fantastic. Reddit and forums like it can be a great place to network. By simply participating in communities and sharing his work in English, he could showcase his skills and find clients. Now he's probably able to get clients from any country, which isn't something he would have imagined before.
Absolutely. It's like learning English transformed his career by letting him access clients from around the world. And even though he started learning it for school, it became so much more than that.
So for everyone listening, these stories are reminders that learning English can lead to amazing opportunities, sometimes in ways you wouldn't even expect. Whether it's creating content, expanding a business, or connecting with a global audience, the possibilities are endless.
Exactly. And while learning a language can seem challenging, these stories show that every bit of progress opens up new doors. You might start by learning English for one reason, but you never know what opportunities will come along as you improve.
So, if you're on your English learning journey, remember that it's about much more than language skills. It's a way to reach out to the world, build connections, and even create something truly unique.
And in our final segment, we'll share tips on how you can use English to begin creating your own success stories in the digital world. Stay with us. Segment 8. Practical tips for learning English. Using digital resources. We've covered a lot about why learning English is so important in today's digital world, but now let's get into some practical tips. How can our listeners use digital resources to improve their English skills and take full advantage of the opportunities we've been talking about?
Great question, Adam. The digital world is full of tools and resources that can make learning English easier and more enjoyable. Whether you're a beginner or looking to refine your skills, there's something out there for everyone. Tip 1. Use language apps for daily practice. One of the easiest ways to start learning English is through language learning apps. Apps like Duolingo, Babbel, or Memrise are fantastic because they break down lessons into bite-sized pieces, and they're designed to be fun and engaging.
Absolutely. Duolingo, for example, gamifies the learning process, so you're learning new words and phrases every day without even realizing it. Plus, it's really motivating when you see your progress on the app.
And these apps have built-in reminders, which is a huge help for consistency. When you use them every day, you're constantly reinforcing what you've learned, and that helps with retention.
Tip 2. Watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts. Another fantastic resource is YouTube. There are countless channels dedicated to teaching English, from grammar lessons to practical speaking tips. Channels like English with Lucy or BBC Learning English offer lessons on pronunciation, vocabulary, and even cultural tips, all in a video format.
Yes, and YouTube is great because you can listen to real-world English being spoken. It's a chance to learn different accents, slang, and the natural flow of conversations, which is something you can't always get from textbooks.
Podcasts are also great for improving listening skills. Listening to English podcasts like The English We Speak or The Fluent Show helps you learn how native speakers communicate in everyday situations. Plus, you can listen while commuting, exercising, or doing household chores, so it's a really flexible way to learn.
Tip 3. Join online communities and social media groups. If you want to practice English in real conversations, social media and online communities are the way to go. Platforms like Reddit, Facebook, or Discord have specific groups dedicated to learning English. You can participate in discussions, ask questions, and even find language exchange partners.
Right. It's a low-pressure way to practice. You might feel nervous at first, but most people in these communities are supportive and happy to help learners. Plus, being part of these groups gives you the chance to connect with people from all over the world, making your learning experience even more diverse and interesting.
Tip 4. Read digital content in English. Reading is one of the best ways to build your vocabulary and improve grammar. Start with simple online articles, blogs, or ebooks. Websites like Medium or news outlets like BBC offer articles written in clear, accessible English.
That's right. And don't be afraid to start with content that interests you, whether it's tech, sports, cooking, or something else. Reading about a topic you're passionate about makes it more enjoyable and easier to learn new words.
And when you come across a word you don't understand, make sure to look it up and try to use it in a sentence. It's about actively engaging with the language rather than just passively reading.
Tip 5. Use interactive websites and games. Interactive websites are also a great way to practice. Websites like English Class 101, BBC Learning English, and Fluent U offer interactive lessons, quizzes, and exercises that help reinforce what you're learning.
Fluent U, for example, takes real-world videos like movie clips, music videos, or news clips, and adds interactive subtitles to them. This helps learners see words in context and gives them a chance to hear them used in real-life situations.
Interactive learning helps you retain information longer because it's not just about memorizing words, it's about seeing them in action. Plus, it's a more engaging way to learn, especially if you're someone who likes using technology.
Tip 6. Practice speaking with AI and voice assistants. If speaking is where you feel you need the most improvement, try practicing with AI and voice assistants. Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant are perfect for this because they allow you to practice speaking in English and get immediate feedback.
And AI tools like speech recognition apps, such as Elsa Speak or Speechling, are specifically designed to help improve your pronunciation. They can listen to your speech and give you feedback on areas you need to work on. The more you practice speaking, the more confident you'll become. And since these tools are available 24/7, you can practice whenever you feel like it. Tip 7. Set realistic goals and track your progress. One of the most important tips I can give is to set realistic goals. You might want to be fluent in 6 months, but it's better to break your learning into smaller, manageable goals. For example, aim to learn 10 new words a day or finish a lesson every week.
Tracking your progress is key to staying motivated. Use apps or journals to keep track of new vocabulary, grammar concepts, or speaking milestones. It helps you see how far you've come and keeps you focused on the next steps.
And don't forget to celebrate small victories along the way. Whether it's finishing a lesson, learning a new phrase, or understanding a conversation you couldn't before, every step forward is a success.
So, to recap, learning English through digital resources is all about consistency and using a variety of tools. Whether it's apps, podcasts, reading, or online communities, the key is to stay engaged and practice every day.
Exactly, Sophia. And as we've discussed throughout this episode, The digital world is full of opportunities, and English is the bridge to unlocking them. So, start using these tips today, and who knows where your English skills could take you tomorrow.
We hope these tips help you on your journey to mastering English and taking full advantage of all the amazing digital opportunities out there. Good luck, and remember, keep practicing.
Thanks for listening to this episode. Stay tuned for more insights and tips on how to use English to succeed in the digital world. See you next time. Segment 9. Overcoming Challenges of Learning English Online. We all know that learning English online can be exciting, but let's be honest, sometimes it's not always smooth sailing. You might get distracted, feel overwhelmed, or even frustrated. So today, let's talk about some of these challenges and how you can overcome them.
Exactly, Adam. Online learning is amazing, but it comes with its own set of obstacles. From staying motivated to finding the right resources, we all face these issues. But don't worry, with a few smart strategies, you can tackle them and keep improving your English.
Challenge 1. Lack of motivation and consistency. One of the biggest challenges is keeping yourself motivated. There are so many distractions online, social media, videos, games. It can be tough to stay focused on your English learning.
I totally get that. The key is to set a schedule and stick to it. Pick a time each day to learn English, even if it's just 15 minutes. Make it part of your daily routine.
Exactly. Treat it like an important meeting. You wouldn't cancel a meeting, so don't cancel your learning time. And when you finish a lesson, give yourself a little reward, a treat, a break, something you enjoy.
Yes, small wins make a big difference. And if you ever feel unmotivated, remind yourself why you started learning in the first place. Challenge 2. Feeling overwhelmed by too many resources. Another challenge people face is feeling overwhelmed. There are so many apps, websites, and videos out there. It's hard to know where to start.
I hear this all the time. My advice? Pick a few reliable resources, maybe one app, one podcast, and one book, and stick with them for a while. Don't try to use everything at once.
Exactly. You don't need to explore every resource available. Focus on what works for you and go deep into it. Master one thing before moving on to the next.
That's the secret. Quality over quantity. It's better to be consistent with a few things than to be all over the place.
Challenge number 3. The fear of speaking and lack of practice. Speaking English can be really scary, especially when you don't have anyone to practice with. But that's one of the most common challenges when learning online.
Yes, but here's the good news. You can practice speaking even without a partner. Try reading out loud, talking to yourself, or using voice assistants like Siri or Google Assistant.
And don't forget about language exchange platforms like Tandem or HelloTalk. You can connect with people who want to practice English and help you with your speaking skills. Plus, it's a great way to make friends.
And remember, making mistakes is completely normal. Every mistake is a step forward. Don't let fear stop you from speaking.
Challenge 4. Missing real-world practice. Another issue is that when you learn English online, you might miss out on real-life situations where you can practice the language.
That's true. But there are ways to bring English into your everyday life. Change the language settings on your phone, read articles or books in English, and even try writing a daily journal in English.
Great ideas. Watching movies, TV shows, or even following social media accounts in English can help too. It's all about making English a part of your daily routine.
Challenge 5. Technical issues. Let's not forget the technical issues, slow internet, apps crashing, or poor video quality. It can be frustrating when you just want to focus on learning.
I've been there, Adam. But there's a solution. Download lessons or videos to your device so you don't have to rely on internet speed. And if your app isn't working, look for alternatives or reach out to customer support.
Good point. Also, make sure your device and apps are updated so they run smoothly. Little tweaks can make a big difference.
Challenge 6. Staying focused and avoiding distractions. It's so easy to get distracted online, whether it's checking your phone or browsing social media. Staying focused can be one of the hardest parts of online learning.
You're right, Sophia. One way to beat this is by using apps like Forest, which helps you stay focused by rewarding you for staying off your phone.
Another tip is to try the Pomodoro technique. Study for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. It keeps your brain fresh and helps you stay on track.
So, as we've seen, while online English learning does come with its challenges, the good news is there are plenty of ways to overcome them.
Exactly. Stay consistent, keep practicing, and find strategies that work for you. And most importantly, remember that challenges are a part of the learning process.
Absolutely. Stay patient and positive. Your hard work will pay off, and soon enough, you'll be using English like a pro in the digital world.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope these tips help you overcome any obstacles you face while learning English online. Keep learning, stay motivated, and have fun with it.
Wow, Sophia, what an exciting conversation we've had today. We've covered so many important reasons why learning English is essential in today's digital world.
Absolutely, Adam. From how English connects us globally to its importance in digital careers, accessing knowledge, and building social connections online, we've seen how powerful mastering English can be.
Right. And we've also talked about the challenges of learning English online, how motivation, distractions, and fear of speaking can hold us back, but how we can overcome these with simple strategies and consistent practice.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right resources, staying focused, and using every opportunity to practice, whether it's reading, speaking, or connecting with others.
And let's not forget about using digital tools and apps to make learning more fun and interactive. The key is to make English part of your daily life and keep pushing yourself forward, even when things get tough.
Definitely. And remember, every small step you take is progress. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and learn from them. It's all part of the journey.
Exactly. So, to wrap things up, we encourage everyone listening to take action today. Whether you're starting your English learning journey or continuing on, use the tips we shared to make the most of your online resources.
And don't forget to set realistic goals and celebrate your progress along the way. The digital world is full of opportunities, and learning English opens so many doors for you.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope you found this conversation valuable and inspiring. If you have any questions or want to share your experiences, feel free to connect with us on social media.
We'd love to hear from you. Keep learning, keep growing, and remember, English is the key to unlocking so many exciting possibilities in today's digital world.
Until next time, take care and keep speaking English. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.